Psychic Radio here on Moonstruck TV with Amanda Hall, Psychic, all the way from the Gold Coast. Have you had an absolutely fantastic week as I've had? I mean, the weather's starting to warm up a little bit here. Not that you'd know that, but it's, it certainly is heading towards the warmer months, and I really come alive in the warmer months. I like the warmth. I like the sunshine. That's why I live where I live. So wherever you live in this magical world of ours, I hope you're enjoying your local weather and enjoying getting out and about and meeting people and having just some generalised good times in your life. We had a long period of time where we were all shut away and things were so uncertain. And I think it's now time that we take our power back, that we sort of get back to sort of living and enjoying our lives and getting out and about and exploring our local environment. And for many people, that's, taking a trip somewhere special or reconnecting with family that live a long distance away. Whatever your journey is, it's time to sort of get out there and really enjoy what nature's got to offer us. So the Simply Tarot card of the week this week doesn't represent going out for a bit of a fun time. This is the card of work frustrations. Now, look, we all have frustrations in our lives from time to time, and sometimes they relate to work. And it's not always about the paid work that we do. It can be hard work needing to be done on a situation, either at work or a situation in your life. So sometimes we have to put in extra effort in areas in our lives that we sort of feel that we've already done the hard yards on, and it's like we want to stand there and lean on the end of a shovel or the end of a stick and say, let me just take another look at this. Is there something that I've missed? Is there another way I can approach this? Is there something that I can do differently that might bring me a different result or move things along or get it unstuck, whatever the case may be? So it's a time of contemplation too. Not everything in life comes easily to us. We have to work at things. We have to put the effort in. And I hear many people say, oh, look, I've worked really hard to make this happen and nothing's happened. Well, sometimes that's just the way it's meant to be. Maybe it's, we need to learn discipline and putting effort into situations that may not pan out the way that we expected it, but it's a good training ground or a good experience for us for other things that are going to come into our lives in a future date. So don't look at this card in a negative. Look at it as, okay, I've maybe got to approach it in a different way. Maybe I've got to stop and think about it, contemplate, look at what my options are, and then proceed forward. Because sometimes the answers aren't always that easy, and sometimes we're in something for the long haul. Not everything can be sorted out with the snap of the fingers like we would like to think it can be. We are basically impatient creatures, humans. We get an idea, we want to act on it, we want it finalised and sorted out and out the other side in 10 minutes. And that's not what life is always about. There's an age-old saying, good things come to those who wait. And I think that's what that card represents. So this week, astrologically, it's not quite as intense as it's been over the last few weeks. I felt we had a really intense time. Yes, we've still got a number of planets going retrograde between now and the end of the year. I won't highlight that. I mentioned that I did a special feature on that on a show a couple of weeks ago. So this week I'm going to focus on what's actually happening today around the universe. So today we've got the sun has moved into Libra. So happy birthday to all the Librians around the world. It's a very exciting time of the year for you. It's a time when it's your time to shine. For the rest of us mere mortals in the other 11 signs, it's a time when we need to be seeking truth. It's a time when we need to be bringing our lives into balance, whatever way that may be. For some people, there may be some legal or government issues that they need to sort out, and it doesn't matter what your star sign is for that. It is a time when we need to get to the truth. We need to bring balance into our lives, and sometimes bringing balance into our lives is a little bit tricky. It can be something that we have to negotiate. We have to sort of sit down and consider the other person's feelings or the other person's needs before we can find a resolution, and sometimes that the word arbitration comes into there, that, we need to arbitrate to find a balance or find the truth in the situation, so we can bring things into balance and that every party can agree to disagree, but we find some sort of common ground, and so then we get a result. So don't be surprised if the next 20 odd days that you might find yourself in a little bit of an arbitration situation, no matter what your star sign is, where you're trying to bring some sort of closure to something or bring something into balance or get to the bottom of a matter that's been troubling you for some time. So we've got the sun in Libra, as I mentioned, and that's really, really positive. So again, happy birthday for all the Librians. We've got the planet Mars. Now, Mars is also sitting in Libra at the moment, which is conjunct the South Node. Now, the South Node is not a planet. It's the moon's node, which means we're looking to try and take the easy way out. Now, I want you to be very, very careful here, particularly if you are a Libra, an Aquarian, or a Gemini. If you're also an Aries, be very, very aware that you're not being stubborn or pig-headed or just looking at this is the only way I can do something and trying to take the easy way out or take the path of what you see as least resistance. This can sometimes come in the form of I haven't got my listening ears on. People around me, people that care about me, bring up suggestions or sort of share with us knowledge or information that they might know that might be important to our lives. And we tend to want to sort of, yes, 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 I'm listening. Thanks very much for the information. You walk out the door, you hang up the phone and you say, I'm not going that direction. What would they know? Just because they've seen it in some official capacity, that doesn't apply to me. So if you're in that situation and you're one of those star signs that I've mentioned, please be very, very careful, because this is not the time to try and take the easy way out in a situation or feel that rules and regulations don't apply to you. If you do proceed with things like that, you will probably find that you'll end up in more hot water and more trouble than what you anticipated, because you haven't done your proper due diligence, you haven't done your research. It's a time to really explore what's under the covers. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to mean that everything in your life is negative. For some people that under those star signs, they'll find that, okay, once they start to explore a particular idea or an opportunity, that they see maybe, just maybe this isn't quite right for me, or maybe there's extra work that needs to be put in, or I need to approach it in a different approach. I'm not going to try and cheat the system or take the easy way out or tread on somebody's toes. I'm going to try and find an alternative solution. And that's what this is designed for, because it's designed to get you to think outside the square, to look for an alternative solution that maybe just by exploring the matter a little bit further, you will find the pathway through, and instead of getting yourself into hot water. So just be aware of that. Be very careful that, you don't get too dogmatic and say, I'm right and everyone else is wrong. That's the major concern here. We also have Jupiter, the planet of luck and opportunity and expansion, is sitting in Taurus at the moment. Now, Jupiter is retrograde until the end of this year. So Jupiter is sort of saying to us, yes, there is opportunities. There's times there where we can really sort of try and expand out our lives. And this applies to all signs, but I will break it down in a minute for the ones that it's more applicable to, but it does apply to the 12 signs. That if there's something new that you're trying to bring in, something that you feel that is important in your life that's going to bring more success, it's a new opportunity, you want to expand something out, I'm going to suggest just tread carefully, because when a planet is going retrograde or backwards, it means that the energy itself is at its peak. It's like sort of being hobbled. It's like, yes, you can make some great progress, but be aware it's going to be slow. It's going to have to be deliberate. It's going to have to be definite, and it might not work as quickly as you would like. There may be some obstacles in the way. There may be some things that you haven't considered there. Now, with Jupiter here, it's making an uncomfortable aspect known as an inconjunct. Now, what that means is that the planet Jupiter is approximately 150 degrees away from the planet Mars, which is sitting in Libra. So it's an uncomfortable sort of energy. It's not saying it's impossible. It's just saying we need to find some different solutions here. So Jupiter's sort of asking you to slow down a little bit on being so excited and so gung-ho that this is the greatest thing that's ever going to happen in your life. It's not saying it can't be. It's just saying we need to slow it down, make sure that we've done our due diligence, made sure that we've considered that we're not hurting someone else's feelings or creating an imbalance in another area of our lives. If all those things match up and you take your time, you're very cautious about it, and you keep reassessing the situation, then there's no reason why the project or the situation can't be successful. It's not saying it can't be successful. It's just saying, just be aware there could be a couple of obstacles, a couple of hurdles here. And again, we need to bring in our negotiation skills, because we've got Mars in Libra here. So this is going to be particularly affecting Tauruses, Virgos, Capricorns, and also Scorpios. The other remaining 8 signs, it'll be a more watered down effect for them. It's more to do with those 4 signs. And then we'd also bring in Libra into the equation too, because we've got Mars in Libra here. So there's going to be sort of a little bit of toing and froing here that we need to be sort of aware of. It's more to do with the earth signs and the opposite sign of Taurus, which is Scorpio. Then it sort of filters down into Libra next, and then it filters down to the rest of us. So just be aware, if you're trying to bring in something new, there may be a couple of obstacles. There may be some extra paperwork that needs to be sorted out. So you just need to sort of be aware and have your patience hat on. You know, sometimes we get a little bit too impatient as human beings, I feel. So we've also got Jupiter again in Taurus, and it's conjunct or holding hands Uranus, the planet of the unusual and the unexpected. Now, I've already mentioned that Jupiter is going retrograde, so is Uranus. Uranus is going retrograde till later in the year as well. So what it does is it waters down the energy or takes the intensity out of the energy, with Jupiter trying to bring in the expansion, the opportunities, and with Uranus here trying to create the openings out of nowhere or speed things up or bring things across quicker. It helps the situation that I just previously spoke about with the in conjunct to Mars, but it's also saying that maybe we need to look for some alternatives. Maybe we need to look a little bit further afield. Maybe we haven't struck that pot of gold yet. Maybe there's another way of presenting this, or bringing something else into the equation that we're trying to get sorted out. So there's many opportunities there. It's just like, don't get frustrated. You know, if you hit a roadblock, then stop, think, look, go back to the card of the week, the work frustration, stand on the end of the shovel and say, hang on a minute, is there another way I can look at these things? Is there another approach? Because that's what you're being asked of here. All the 12 signs will come up against a few little frustrations between now and the end of the year. Of course, that's life. But it means that we can find alternative solutions. We have Mercury, the planet of communication, is sitting at home in Virgo at the moment. So communication should be very, very clear. It may be a little bit slower than what we would like. We may not be getting messages and emails and things like that returned as quickly as we would like. But rest assured that when they do come through, or the message comes through, it will be a lot clearer than what it has been for a long time. It'll be very concise and to the point. So it will be an opportunity there where we can sort of really start to get some major breakthroughs, particularly if we've been waiting on some major stuff to come through, things that are life-changing or things that are, you know, holding areas of our life up. We need to sort of work through these and, you know, explain ourselves and sort of be very clear in communication. So if you've got to have any communication with an official or a government agency, make sure that your communication is clear. My suggestion would be put it in writing. Sometimes people just don't have their listening ears on, even though you think they do, and their interpretation of your voice and what's being said sometimes is not the way that it is. And I'm a firm believer in putting things in writing, and then there is no misinterpretation. It's there in black and white. So we also have Neptune sitting in Pisces at the moment. Neptune rules Pisces, so it feels very, very comfortable there. It's also going retrograde at the moment. So Neptune is sort of, you know, not necessarily complicating things, but it's bringing things out of the fog a little bit, because Neptune's known to go into a sort of a fog and then we come out the other side and things start to clear. Now, even though it's retrograde and people would sort of think that's the fog intensifying, sometimes that just means that the creativity or the solutions that we've been seeking are intensifying. They're getting stronger. They're becoming clearer. We just, again, needed to look for some alternative, different ways to sort out the issues or the situations that we're going through. This can be an incredibly creative time. It can also be a time where people are sort of feeling as if, you know, a lot of the people that they've been able to rely on are changing direction or have got a different outlook, or, you know, there's a lot of movement in politics and government officials at the moment. Everybody seems to be shuffling the deck chairs. It's okay. Let's just go with it. You know, maybe it's a time for a shake up for some fresh faces, from some new ideas to sort of bring some creative new solutions to the table. It's a positive thing. We also have Saturn, the planet of discipline, structure, and is sitting in Pisces too. So this is bringing the structure that is needed here to Neptune in Pisces. So if, you know, governments are reshuffling the deck chairs and we've got new leaders being elected or new people coming into party rooms, things like that, it's a good thing, because it's time we need some fresh input. We need some fresh ideas. We need some new ways of looking at things. We need some new ways of problem solving. There will be a number of investigations, I'm sure, going on around the world into various different matters. But one of the major topics at the moment around the world is global warming. Whether you believe in it or not, it's here to stay. We've got to start addressing this, and there's a lot of talk around that around government tables at the moment, that what to do next with these weather events that keep turning up. The other major issue is that people are now starting to sort of take a look in the rear vision mirror about how we handled COVID worldwide and what we did locally, and was there things that we could have improved or done differently, and maybe sort of set a benchmark for heavens above that we never have another pandemic again in our lifetime. But we never know. We can't say we don't know, but maybe there was lessons that we could learn from this one. So there's lots of things happening astrologically around the world. Whatever your star sign is, try and sort of relax, be ready for the changes that are coming, because there's always change. That's one thing that's guaranteed. There's always change coming around the world, and we just need to be prepared for it. So we're going to talk with Joni in Boone in Iowa in USA. Are you there, Joni?
I am.
Do you have a question I can answer for you, sweetie?
Yes. Well, there's just been a lot going on. My husband passed away 3 months ago at the age of 40. And like I said, there's just been a lot going on with his family and stuff like that. I was wondering if he has like messages for me or our boys, or.
Joni, I want to say how sorry I am. I know what that feels like, to be in that situation, to be widowed and to be a young widow is something I think that's more difficult than somebody that's much older, that's had a long life with their partner, and we all get to an age when we're going to potentially expire. But to lose somebody when they're young and to have children to raise too is a very, very difficult situation. And people don't understand what it is to go through that. It's not just your own personal grief of losing your husband and the love of your life. You've got little people that need to understand their emotions as well. No matter what age they are, it's still uncomfortable. They've lost their dad and they don't know where to put their feelings or how to deal with it. And then you put in all the legalities and the things that need to be sorted through, and families aren't always as supportive as what they should be or what we expect they're going to be under times like this. I feel his family are struggling with the loss as well, and I don't know that they're coping with it that well, and they haven't really been what I would term as loving and as supportive of you and the boys, have they?
No, they haven't.
Not at all. And I think your husband would be quite disgusted with their behaviour if he was able to sit down and have a cup of coffee with us and voice his opinion at the moment. I think he'd be absolutely disgusted. That's what I'm picking up. Look, sweetie, I can assure you that I haven't had anybody come through from the other side yet and tell me it's horrible over there. Most of the time they come through and they just want you to know that they're there, that, they're more concerned about you and the boys than they are about themselves. I mean, I know this was a shock. I don't believe your husband thought he was going anywhere. So, he's still coming to terms with the fact that he's gone and that he's not coming back, and he's not going to be there to spend the rest of his life with you and the children. But at the same time, he's showing me a beautiful big pink heart. So that means he still loves you. He still cares for you. He's with you every second of the day. I don't know that he would be disappointed in you taking a stand against his family. I think he would stand by your side with that, and I think he would actually encourage it, if that makes any sense.
It does.
Yeah, he's not expecting you to bend and be what they want you to be. You're your own person. You're the mother of my children, and you'll do what's best for the boys. And that's what he wants to. He's very firm with that. Look, he appreciates you're sad, you're lonely, and a lot of emotions you're going to go through, for a very long time. And there's no bus timetable when grief actually finishes, because it doesn't actually officially ever finish. I think we find a comfortable spot to put it in, and we find our own ways of coping and dealing with it. And if I can make one suggestion, is do things that feel right to you. If you want to have a birthday party your husband's next birthday, have one with the boys. That's a good thing. Find little things that work for you, that help you guys get through your grief, and don't let anybody tell you that it's weird or it's kooky or you shouldn't do that. It's your way of coping with it. I had lots of little things I did with my children as they were growing up, when they lost their father when they were very young, and they tell me now, and they're grown adults, that it helped them cope with it. It helped them feel normal. So I know that your life is going to go through lots of changes in the next 12 months. All I can say to you is just take 1 hour at a time, and don't look at anything as being wrong. If you're sad, cry. If you're happy, dance. Just do what feels right at the moment. There's no right or wrong way to deal with this. But I know you're going to come out the other side, Joni, and your husband will never, ever, ever leave your side. You'll get some sort of signs. You'll smell his aftershave, or you'll see something out of the corner of your eye. Just talk to him. That's him. He's there with you all the time. So I hope that's helped you, sweetie.
Yes, thank you.
You're very, very welcome. We're going to talk with Natasha now in Bristol, in England, in the UK. Are you there, Natasha?
Yeah, thank you.
Do you have a question I can answer for you, Natasha?
No, this is general, please.
Okay. I usually like a question because then I can get in if there's a particular area that you wanted me to cover, but I'm happy to just generally have a look if that's what you want, Natasha.
Yes, please.
Okay. All right. First thing that they're showing me is that there's been a number of endings, changes, and transformations. Has there been some really major projects around yourself that you've been working on this year, Natasha?
Yes.
Yeah. And they're showing me a couple of those we've sort of come through the other side, but there's still one or two there that we're almost ready to say, I've completed that. But it's like this last little push is going to take an almighty effort. Is that where you're at the moment, is it?
Yes.
Yeah. And they're just sort of saying to me from your spirit guides are just saying to me, just keep going, just, baby steps. You will get there. You will achieve things. You'll be pleased to know 2024 is going to be a hell of a lot easier than 2023. But this was necessary, I think, to sort of complete these things, to be able to put them in the completed basket and to be ready to be able to move forward. So, did you move house, or did you just make some major changes while living in this place?
I'm wanting to move.
You're not what, sweetie?
I'm wanting to move.
Oh, you're wanting to move. Okay, that's why I'm getting that real push to sort of move then. Okay. I wasn't sure whether they were sort of saying to me that with all the changes that had been on, that was sufficient, or whether it was time to move. Good. I'm pleased you're saying you want to move, because I feel there is a move, and I feel that that's one of the next steps. After we get through these two things, they keep showing me two things that need to be completed. And then I think the doorways open up for you to be able to sort of move and make other changes, and things become a lot easier. Why do I feel that there's been a lot of tears, Natasha?
A lot of flowers.
A lot of tears. It's like there's been a lot of tears that have had to flow, whether they've been actual real tears that have rolled down your face, or whether they've just been tears on the inside. But it's like that's also coming to an end now too. So there's been a lot of releases or letting go, hasn't there? A lot of tears that flowed.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with tears flowing, sweetie. That's a sign of strength. It's never a sign of weakness. I also sort of feel quite lonely. And I'm not saying you don't have people in your life, but I feel this innate sense of loneliness. It's like, does that mean you haven't got a partner?
I have got one.
Yeah, but you can still have a partner and still feel incredibly lonely too.
Yeah, I do get you. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm not saying the relationship's wrong. I'm just saying I'm picking up this real feeling of sort of loneliness, of having to do so much by myself, that it would be nice just once to have somebody I could reach out or lean on or give the task to them. But it's always been you, hasn't it? It's been sort of like you and you and you against the world. It's sort of like, even though there's people around you, it's always been you that's had to do the work.
Yeah.
I can't look. I'd love to say that's all going to change, but I think what's changing is your attitude to it. That sort of like you're not searching for that anymore. You're not searching for that someone that can help you. You've accepted, well, this is the way it is, and it's just, I'm just going to make the best of it and get on with it. And I feel that in itself is going to break this monotony where you won't feel so lonely. I know that sounds stupid, but that's the way they're presenting it to me, by just sort of accepting it and accepting this as your lot, that it's sort of like, then it's like we've pushed through that barrier or that boundary, and then things start to sort of open up. But 2024 is certainly a much happier year. It's like we open the door, the sunshine comes in, a move of residence, which is going to open your whole life up. It's not just moving residence. It's with that move comes a whole brand new life. So I can only take from that, with the move, that you've got more confidence in yourself, you're getting out and about more, you're meeting more people, and I just don't feel this innate sense of loneliness anymore or isolation. So are you planning on moving to somewhere where there's more activity?
I haven't got any plans of where to move yet.
No, I can only give you what they give me, and they're just showing me that once you've made the move, it's like your life feels less lonely. I feel happier in myself, and it feels like life is worth living again. And it's like this is a really, really positive thing, and I feel very comfortable with that. So I hope that's helped you, Natasha. But I know that where you've been coming from and where you're going to is we've almost come out the other side of that very long, dark tunnel that you've had to keep sort of inching further forward, slowly but surely, and you're just about out the other side. I can just see the light at the end of the tunnel. So that's where we're going to leave Natasha in Bristol. It's always difficult when we have changes in our life, and particularly like young Joni with her young boys, that, with losing somebody that was really important to us. She lost a partner. There's many of us that have been through that, and there's many of us that yet will go through it again. And it's always an incredibly difficult time, and there is no rule book. Can I suggest for anybody that's going through loss, a book on death and dying by Dr. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross is the best book on grief. There is one written about children and how they handle grief too by Dr. Ross. So that's my suggestion there. This week I want to leave you with a song that I think is very appropriate, and I just get guided by spirit each week at which song I'm going to suggest, or something that's been going through my head, and which tarot card I pull. They all seem to all come together and make the show complete. And this week's an oldie but a goodie. It's Never Going to Let You Go. And I think that's actually very appropriate for Joni and the Boys by Sergio Mendes. It's a beautiful, beautiful love song, and it's a song I hadn't heard for a very long time until just before the show. So, Joni, I'm going to dedicate that song to you and the boys from your late husband, Never Going to Let You Go by Sergio Mendes. So I hope you look it up on YouTube or wherever you get your musical feeds from. It's a beautiful love song, and I know now I know why I picked that song. It's for you from your loving husband. So for anybody that's had a loss and this song's appropriate for you, or even for the rest of us that might have love in our lives, that we've got our partners are still alive and kicking and enjoying life with us, and sometimes they frustrate us, but that's part of the journey of love, isn't it? So until next week, Never Going to Let You Go by Sergio Mendes. Bye for now.